Hello. I don't know what's going on, but I think I missed. Got ready to do some stuff. Worked on a few things a few hours before, and then promptly checked out of my day early, I guess. Yeah, I'm starting to. I think the workload's getting to me. But this week is a game design week, so I feel like based off of what I just worked on, it's time I got back to some of those choose your own adventure video style games. And I think the best example of that is the choose your own adventure stuff is a good story, but the one that I designed a while ago we'll see how it works, but the role-playing game you can play on YouTube is probably what I'm going to end up focusing on. So let's see. Let me pull aside here. I believe. Let's see. So hopefully everything's working all right. The video game idea I had was a playable YouTube game. So if you're kind of new to the idea here, it's something I actually did an example of a prototype game years ago. Yeah, it's years ago now at this point. Of a choose your own adventure style game that used annotations. The annotations are no longer viable as a method of doing this. So what I'm going to have to try to figure out is what the best way to go forward with the choose your own adventure style game, not just the choose your own adventure, but the game style play of that. I've got a few options here, and the ones that we just did a game design, an audio game design, where we were playing around with using audio channel left and audio channel right. And I feel sort of bad that I wasn't here last night, but I just checked out early. I was just not here for it, I guess. But the game style that I can do with that right now is audio channel left, audio channel right. But if I build an external unit that you plug in, sort of extra amp for a speaker set or a headphone set, I should be able to use what's called band pass filters to split the audio frequency coming out so that I could get high end or low end audio and sort of set the range where it, like, there's high end filters, there's low end filters, and then there's band pass filters, which filter out low end and high end, giving you a channel between the two of them. Now, you can pick what you want that channel to be, and it'll work on a mono audio channel. So if I take a left speaker, right speaker audio setup, I've already got two channels. And if I can split each of those channels up into a high-end band pass and a low-end band pass, where they're not really like high-end opposing each other. They're not like binary end spectrums, but they're right next to each other. They just don't overlap in the middle, and you clip off the high end and low end on either side of that. I should be able to see if I can, using two band pass filters, pull two bands of audio frequency from the mid-range of left channel and pull two from the mid-range of the right channel. And I should be able to get 4, possibly 6. But the tricky part of that idea, the tricky part of band pass filtering audio in order to get 2 channels out of 1 mono channel is you're already sort of up on the edge of, like, I won't be able to play music in it because the music is going to range in and out of that band that I'm using, the audio frequency band. And if I do that, at least that's my understanding of it. I need to do some experimentation, but I think one of the other problems I'll have is if I start trying to subdivide past 2, and maybe even at 2 different bands, we're going to see a noticeable distinction where I'll be talking down low on one channel and high on the other channel, and it'll be freaking weird. But if I can minimize the amount that's obvious, I might get 4 different channels to play with. But that requires an external device with bandpass filters in it. Now, it's possible that if I really wanted to double up the length of what I could use an audio video for, the audio channels on a video for a video game like I'm working on this week, it's possible that if I use a neutral background image, that I could do a run through of a choose your own adventure style story and then say, now switch over to right speaker and hit 0 and take you all the way back to the beginning and run through and get an entirely different story or an entirely different set of audio that'll be a continuation of that story. So a choose your own adventure story that uses, say, an hour of audio track time, but lets you jump around so that you're only listening to probably about 20 minutes of it, 15 to 20 minutes. If you get to the end of that and I have you jump all the way back to the beginning, I could squeeze 30 to 40 minutes. No. Yeah, 30 to 40 minutes possibly out of a video like that. I don't know if it makes the most sense to do that. It might be a fun gimmick to do a one-off with and just see what people think. But for the best results, I think at this point, there are 3 types of things I could potentially do. And there's the type of video I was talking about earlier where earlier last week, maybe even the week before that, when we were looking at board game designs. So one of the options is to do a video where everything is timed precisely to 5-second bits. So you have a 5-second open, jump by hitting the 5-second forward, or don't hit anything, go to the next 5 seconds. So 5 seconds, you have 3 options. Go to the next one automatically, skip ahead to the choice 2, or skip ahead to choice 3 at 10 seconds out. And then based off of which one you're in, you get roughly 3 seconds of answer before you have to choose where you go to next. And the choice next would be, again, jumping 5 seconds or 10 seconds into the future. Or in the case of the 10-second choice, don't do anything. And so the trick with that style, that format of doing a choose your own adventure is it's an organizational nightmare. Everything you're working on, 5-second clips. And, that's sort of misleading because that 5-second is really 3 seconds. You need at least 2 seconds to tell them where to go. And so your whole video is going to be just choppy, and going from first narrative to 0 jump, which is just the next 5 seconds, that 5-second one has to have if it jumps ahead 5 seconds, it'll take it to the front of the 10-second jump from the first one. Yeah, this is an organizational nightmare. If you do a 10-second jump, it jumps to the piece after the first 3 options. If you do you can't really do a 0-second jump from the 0-second jump first choice. You have to do either well, I mean, if you frame it right, you could probably do a 5-second, which will take you to the first second of the 10-second skip from the, yeah, it's a mess. And organizing that becomes a huge problem. You're sitting there with a timer, making sure everything you do is under 5 seconds. And then editing, you have to string those 5-second clips together to narrate a story. And you need to sequence them right so that the first choice you take takes you to choice, say, 5-second jump. And the choice at the end of that one can take you to the choice, the story piece right after the 10-second jump. Or a 10-second jump would take you to the one right after that. But if you do that, the 10-second one really only has a 10-second jump it can make. And yeah, that's a really complicated thing to do. I think for things that have 2 or fewer options, that's better. You could do 3, but 3 choices on that format is best done where once you've made the choice, you're delivered an answer, and then it's a different puzzle the next time around. It's not a sequential storyline that you can really build well. So that sort of leaves the other 2 options, which of the 2 options, I feel like I'm not sure which makes the most sense. I know which one I like most. And that is the 10% through 90% number button jumps. So this is down to a trick in audio formatting or video formatting software programs that pretty much everybody uses. Basically, when you're watching a video, if you were to watch this after I'm done recording it, I don't think it'll do it while I'm live recording. But if you were to watch this video after I'm done recording it, and as these videos tend to be half an hour to an hour long sometimes, if you're watching this video and you say like, okay, he was about halfway through when he was talking about this topic, I want to skip to that point. All you have to do is hit the 5 button. It'll take you to 50% of the way through the video. And if I was a quarter of the way through at the part you wanted to see, you just hit the 2. It'll take you 20% in. It's not really a quarter of the way, but it's as close as you can really get at that point. And this one, like if you had a 3-minute long video, it'll still all work that way. So 2 will still take you 20% of the way into a 3-minute video. If it's a 7-hour long video, the 2 will still take you 20 minutes into the length of the whole video. So a 10-hour video would get you, 2 would get you in 2 hours in to a 10-hour video. Wow, I'm just bumbling that all day. I'm not communicating clearly. But I like that format. The biggest hurdle for that format is with a choose your own adventure story. You do narrative portion 1, 3 choices. So now each one of those takes up time too. So you have 1 piece and then 3 segments after it, bringing your total segments to 4. And the 3 jumps that you took will be different percentages of the way into the video. And again, it's a timing gimmick. Like I can sort of work that one out so that you size each segment to roughly the same time frame. And if they're, say, a 3 minute long clip each, and I tack on to the end of that, or I have at the end and at the beginning of each segment a little spacer so that I can expand or contract the spacer to make each segment fit precisely a set amount of time, and then stack them in the timeline. That's a little bit easier to do. But with a limit like 1 through 9 as the number of buttons you can hit to jump you to certain points in the video, if you start with 1 that splits into 3, and each of those 3 splits into 3, you've already used it all up. You can't do 3 split on the first one and 3 split on all 3, because 3 split on all 3 is already 9. And a 3 split on the first one would put you over what you could do. You just can't do it. So having a few of those options be a 2 split and maybe 1 or 2 of them being dead ends, it makes it possible to get 3 layers of choice. You get your first choice, and then your second choice, and then the last one finishes up with like an end card saying, if this is where you want to go, this will take you to the next video in the series. And that's kind of how you have to do it. So in that sort of format, it's very possible to get a hour and 20-minute video where playtime for the individual player is 7 to 10 minutes long, based on the path that they're following. And that limit of a 7 to 10 minute long video max, with only 2 points where you can make choices and a third point for when the next video comes up in the series, that sort of works for a serial adventure. And I like it because it has some cleanliness to it. It's tight and concise. You only have to hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 buttons. Now I could extend the potential of that by hitting, like, the 0 button actually jumps you all the way back to the beginning. And if the way we do this is set it up so that the first part of the story is on audio channel 1 and the second half is on audio channel 2, then I could probably get double as much if I do it right. But you're still it's still making it rather fiddly. Like, you're doing the hit 1 if you want to go here, hit 2 if you want to go here, hit 3 if you want to go here, or switch headphones, hit 1, hit 2. And it becomes a little more cluttered when you do it that way. And so that limit of 3 tiers deep is a hard limit to how far you can go with the percentage into the video range. An option that doesn't have that limit but isn't as easy or straightforward is to do a video where, when it comes to your choice, there's a pause window for, say, 3 minutes so that you can sit there and make your choice. And then you are required to use that little bar at the bottom of a video and find the timestamp of where the piece you're going to next is. So if I do a story where I set out with you entering a dungeon and you're walking down the hallway and the hallway splits in 3 directions, I say, do you take the left path, the center path, the right path? If you take the left path, then jump to 4 minutes and 73 seconds. If you take the center path, jump to 12 minutes and 42 seconds. And if you take the right-hand path, jump to 7 minutes and 22 seconds. And that's how you're going to play the game, is you're going to have to find on the scroll bar at the bottom the one you're going to jump to. And I don't like that one as much because it's sort of like a hunt and seek kind of situation. But this is a format that lets me build a 12-hour long video. And in that video, you can jump from, you can have 7, 8 tiers deep. You know, you can have 7 points in that story where you make a choice that leads to another direction. And that versatility of a single video taking you to multiple places, that's super nice to have it all in one video. The appeal of the annotations before, when I was doing this type of video construction, was the annotations would allow me to embed essentially a button in the video that you could click on, and it would automatically take you to that timestamp without you having to hunt for it. That's why I'm still sort of angry that we don't have that ability anymore. But this is essentially just continuing making that style of video without the annotations, making it easier. Now, there is a sort of like a caveat to that caveat, and that's that I can include in the description below the individual timestamps for the individual portions of it. Now, the way to potentially do that to make it easier, because when I structure them out, if I title each time-stamped location as you die, or something like that, or you confront the goblins, or something along those lines, it spoils the game if you look at the just giant list of timestamps. And there's no clean way to structure that list of timestamps without potentially spoiling some of those options. Like when you see that timestamp such and such brings a storyline to an end, you know that that's a sudden death channel, so you're less likely to follow it. One of the possibilities of doing that is to make sort of symbols or letters, or number them and just refer to them by those. The trick with numbers is we tend to think of numbers sequentially. If I were to number, you go into the dungeon, you have 3 choices of directions to go. If I numbered those 1, 2, 3, if you took choice 2 and you're in choice 2 and you come to a choice again, your choice of your 3 choices at the end of choice 2 are going to be 7, 8, 9. So you're going from 2 to 7, 8, or 9. And so you're not getting a sequential run of numbers, and it's going to be very confusing to build a list with numbers all out of sequence. But if I use like the exclamation mark, the @ sign, the pound sign, the dollar sign, the percentage sign, and certain letters or letter combinations, and markup symbols, like if I use those as the indicators of the ones that you're going to choose, it makes it possible to jump down into the comment or the description box and find the link that you need to jump to with the timestamp. There is a sort of a threshold of how far you can take that, because there are only a certain number of symbols you can include to a certain degree. So yeah, I don't know what the right way to do this would be. And if you build a big enough list of those symbols, it becomes a hunt and search just to find the symbol to jump to the timestamp. It becomes easier at that point just to use the timestamp. You know, it tells you on the screen what time to go towards. So you put your little pointer on the bar at the bottom and you click on that, and it'll take you there. I have potentially considered, it's a lot of extra editing work, but I have considered the possibility of making little flags, little markers, so that if you're in a section of the video where it says, if you make choice A, B, or C, jump to one of these three timestamps, I can put flags along the bar at the bottom where that timestamp is. And you just have to go to where that timestamp is, right beneath it, click on the bar, and it'll take you there. The hard part about doing that is it sort of almost doubles the editing time, because what I'm going to have to do is build the video with its individual segments of story. And when it tells you to jump to a time frame, I don't have to mark the end of that story segment, but I have to find, you know, when I've made it, shot it, and strung them all together, I have to find out what the timestamp for the beginning of the next one is. And I can use those spacers on the end, like 3 to 5 seconds, maybe a spacer. Because, like, if you try to click on the right second, you're not always going to get it perfectly right. So give yourself a little bit of spacer on the end of them. So when you click on it, it'll have an image of your choice fading out to the whatever art or image I use for the background image while I tell the story. So that's a possibility, but I'll have to record the whole video, see where everything is located in the video, especially once it's uploaded to YouTube on a private video, find those timestamps using a notebook, write them down, and then go back into editing and enter those in with the flags at the appropriate location. And that's cumbersome. But it may be the best way to do this as a single video, self-encapsulated, and not chasing down these like some people who do the choose your own adventure style videos, they use the end cards to tell you what video to jump to next in the sequence of videos. And so you're loading video after video after video after video, and each one of them only has 1 to 2 choices. I don't think you can get 3 choices of a video at the end card. You might be able to. Can you get 4? I'm not sure. I haven't dabbled with that yet. That's one of the other options of a style I can do. I can do a jump from one video to another, but that's sort of like the daisy chaining of the videos. It has the potential limit of how many videos you can put in an end card to jump to, but it also has the issue of you're loading multiple videos in a sequence, and your playlist, if you build it as a playlist, you can't just, you have to make it, I think you have to build it as a there are 3 different types of videos you can do. You can do a public, you can do private, and an unlisted. And you can end card to a private or I don't know if you can end card to an unlisted. But that may be the way to have to hide them. I'm not sure if you condense them all into an individual playlist, if the playlist will appear off to the side and spoil the course of action that you're doing. So these choose your own adventure options, I think at this point the 5 second to 10 second jump, the 0, 5, and 10 second jump is not the way to go. I think that's best left to trivia. And I may end up doing that for some of the trivia videos, and I may make one like that this week, maybe, just for giggles, because that would be the easiest format of video to do, is literally just set up a video with 5 second things. And there is an additional thing you can do for something like that, where that time frame of the 5 second jump, 5 second jumps are done with, I believe, L key, and the 10 second jumps are with the right arrow key on your keyboard. And the 0 second jump is do nothing. And so there's one other button that's potentially useful for doing this because of that time limitation I talked about, where you're doing like 3 to 5 second videos. The way to expand that is to say, here's the question, hit the K key, and consider your answer. The K key is the pause button. And so when you're ready, you hit the K key, and when you're paused on a video, you can actually hit the jump ahead button, and it'll jump you that distance ahead. You have to time it right still. There's the issue of, if you're 3 seconds into your first 5 seconds and you say hit the K key to contemplate the answer, and you have 2 more seconds of video after that, but somebody's paused with 2 seconds ahead of them, if they jump ahead 5 seconds, they're going to land in the middle of the 0 second jump. So it's all about timing. So you're going to have to put a counter on, and you're going to have like, this is the puzzle, count down to 0, and when 0 hits, hit the K key, figure out your answer, and then jump to where you want to be. And that's something that tight on timing is really hard to do. So I think I will see if I can, I'm trying to decide whether or not the audio adventure that I wrote, if I can upload it to YouTube and Facebook. I think I want to see if I can load it as a Facebook video and see if I can get that loaded onto the Facebook page for this channel and share it on Facebook with some of my friends and family. So I want to try to do some of that this week, and I want to see if by the end of the week I can knock out a very comprehensive, longer role-playing style game. So when I say role-playing, it's not just choose choice A, B, or C. There is mostly that. You're going to have, do you go left or right? Do you open the door or not? Do you climb up onto the dragon to go flying, or do you confront the dragon, or something like that? So there are 2, 3 choices, sometimes maybe 4 choices for each moment in that story that you choose, and it takes you in a certain direction. But what makes this a game and not just a choose your own adventure story is the possibility of including, you are in a combat with this creature, roll dice, and I put up what the monster rolls, and if you beat the monster's roll, you do damage to it. If it beats your roll, it does damage to you. And from that point on, like, you're going to have a character sheet of some kind that you keep up with you. And so it's going to have your strength, your equipment, and your health, and your armor. And so, like, that becomes more of a role-playing game that you do through YouTube. And I love the idea of doing this. I still think the best way to do that is potentially doing it with the choose your timestamp that you're going to jump to, because otherwise it's going to be 3 tiers deep, jump to a new video, 3 tiers deep, jump to a new video, and that becomes a bit of a mess at a certain point. But the timestamp one does end up being a editing labor. It's not only am I going to have to do a 1 to 2 hour long video just for people to get a 5 to 10 minute video game, but organizing the pieces in the right sequence and figuring out the timestamps for where they fit and everything, that's going to take a lot of editing. So that's going to be the heavy end of this project. But I think it's probably the best way to do this. I'll take a look at the possibility of doing the end card jump to a new video one, just as a demonstration of what I can make it do. If I can make that jumping to a new video work for more than 2 choices, then I'll do it. But if it can only ever offer 2 choices, I don't see that it offers a lot of advantages over a split audio channel. So that's sort of what I'm thinking of right now. So maybe by the end of the week, I will have 1 or 2 trivia games. Yeah, the thing I've seen in some of the older videos that we had the option of 3. I think the issue I've encountered with some of that now is they've forced us to a template in end designs, and the end cards, I have an option for jump to my main channel, jump to this video, or jump to this video. I'm not sure about that though, and so as an experiment, it doesn't hurt me to try out a simple short run choose your own adventure style video that would use the end cards as an option. And maybe at the end of the week, I'll put it up for vote for people to tell me which they think is the better option. Maybe that's what I'll do for one of the videos. I will do a video where I explain how certain things worked, and then your choice at the end of the video, the end card, is describing what my plans are for that sequence. So I think that's probably what I'm going to try to focus on this week. It's a lot of work, and I want to see if I can get like an audio trivia game done, the Space Cadet audio game done, and then a end card choose your own adventure, and a role-playing pick the timestamp. I don't think I'm going to do the minute jumps. I may do the percentage into the video, but because it's only 3 tiers deep, you only really get the chance to make 2 choices. So 2 choice puzzles might be an option, but past that, I think Yeah, I'll give it a go. I'll see what I can pull off with just using that. So now I've got to chart out my options and script up something in the next day or so I can figure out where I'm going to be able to pull certain things off. We're about 40 minutes in, and I'm about ready to call it. So I will hopefully have something interesting to demonstrate in the coming days this week. I will post or talk about the links of where you can find them when I post them. I think I'll probably just post them on this channel. Oh, I still have creative prompts inspired by artwork and the board game to do, don't I? Yeah, my brain's just all over the place. All right, I got to assemble myself a little bit and figure some stuff out. But I will catch you tomorrow. Take care and have a good night. I should probably, yeah. All right, and are you going to work for me this time?